Hi, doing? My name is Larry Fenelon. I'm a partner in Leman Solicitors. We are corporate lawyers based in Dublin 4, and we're also sports law specialists. So, in the run-up to Pride Week, we've been asked by DCU to talk to you about how sport and the law and inclusion all interact. And I want to talk to you about being togged but not out, and I want to talk to you about Wayne's pain. So, I want to ask you a couple of questions. Why is it that only people that I know in sport who are openly gay are Valerie Mulcahy, Donald Cusack, and referee David Goff? And only one of them is a player. Two of them are from Cork. All three are from rural communities, and all three of them are from the GA. What's that say about other sports? Most censuses return 4 to 5% of people as being identifying themselves as LGBTQI+, and I'd say the generally accepted percentage of the population that identifies itself as gay is at 10%. So what I'm asking is, where's the 5 to 10% of our gay teammates? Where is the 5 to 10% of our gay athlete stars? So I want to ask, is sport really a hostile environment for people to be openly gay? And judging by the fact that there's not one single Premiership footballer that is openly gay speaks volumes. Likewise, in Ireland, there's not one professional rugby player that identifies himself as gay, or indeed any soccer player playing in their trusty league. So I think that's a big yes, sport is a hostile environment for the gay community. And Stonewall, which is a UK gay rights advocacy group, confirms that 4 out of 10 of their members have said that sport is an unwelcoming place. I think probably the number's a little bit higher than that. So what's it say about our sports culture that you can be openly gay in work, in the community, but not while you're togged out? So perhaps the reasons are that, well, the changing room can be a very cruel place, and maybe coaches are hostile to the idea of it, or indeed our team is all about togetherness. The rejection is profound. So I want to talk to you about Wayne's pain. I think that sports national government bodies need to do more, and they need to do better. I think it goes beyond having a protocol around the issue. I think it's about actively supporting it and implementing it on the ground. So I want you to imagine Wayne. He's a 17-year-old. He plays on a team in an inner city club. And imagine his dilemma in not only coming out to his teammates, but actually staying in the club after he comes out. I want you to imagine Wayne coming out to his teammates, and then the subtle or unsubtle isolation that begins in the changing room, in the showers, on the team bus, the whispering, the name calling, the nicknames, the jibes, the abuse, the unfair treatment, the singling out, the hostility and the cruelty. And it makes him feel exhausted, unloved and scared. Why should he carry around in that club anymore? The easiest thing for him to do is just to leave. So what I think clubs and governing bodies should be doing is stopping the Waynes leaving in the first place, being afraid to join in the first place. And I think it's high time that national governing bodies for sports created a legal framework whereby that intolerance isn't accepted and is addressed on the ground. So there's no point in presenting a problem without a solution. And I think that the solution here is that each club should have an equality and inclusion officer. That is somebody who supports those marginalised in the community, the minorities, whether it be class, creed, colour, or sexual orientation. Think of the message that would send out to the ignorant and intolerant in those sports clubs, that there is an equality and inclusion officer. It says there's a culture we're not tolerating that sort of intolerance. Imagine if Wayne had a grievance procedure that he could turn to within the club, that he could go to a neutral third party within the club who would bring Wayne and whoever his aggressors were into the same room, where they could explain to each other why they said what they said, how much hurt has been caused, the effect it's having on them, and the redress they're seeking. You compare that to what's existing out there in clubs. Only 15% of clubs have a grievance procedure. I work with most of them in the country. And I know that the other 85% have a disciplinary system. I want you to understand the difference between the two. And I want you to understand, as a sports governing body and a sports club, disciplinary system doesn't cut the mustard here. So let's say Wayne only has a disciplinary system to go to. What's he going to do? He's going to make his disciplinary, he's going to initiate disciplinary action. Someone's going to have to investigate that. If they believe there's grounds, then they're going to have a full-on hearing, a 3-person tribunal. Both parties may be represented, calling witnesses, making submissions, producing evidence in a very divisive and combative way. And a sanction ultimately is the only show in town when it comes to disciplinary proceedings. Either that person is guilty or not guilty of an offence, and they will either receive a sanction or they won't. Think of the division in the club as a consequence. If Wayne takes on his teammate or his coach within the disciplinary infrastructure of that club, coach gets banned for 3 months for abusive language and intolerant language to Wayne, or one of his teammates, the star of the team, gets banned in the run-up to the championship match, Wayne will become a pariah. He'll divide the club. It'll worsen his position, not improve it. You compare that to that grievance procedure where a neutral third party, skilled at redress, brings the offending party and Wayne into the room, explains the effect it's had on Wayne. Wayne can articulate for himself. An apology can be made, perhaps even a hug in a post-COVID environment. Who can say they're sorry and get on with their lives without dismantling trust or togetherness of the team. And that's what I'm advocating, that national governing bodies have to lead here. And it's quite clear that because we don't have any openly rugby or soccer players, those governing bodies particularly need to take the lead and do more within the gay community, or for the gay community. So this is traditionally the run-up to Gay Pride Week. And if our national governing bodies for sport are serious about this, I'm advocating that they do something more on this. Thank you very much.